Hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in. If you're a new subscriber, you're welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for joining us today. So pretty much today we're talking about what are the different ways by which you can show your proof of financial sufficiency as an international student. There are various ways by which you can prove that you have sufficient or enough funds when you're coming to Canada to study as an international student. Now, this is one very important requirement within your application. Canada would always want to see that you have enough funds to sustain you, one, for the payment of your tuition, two, to come to Canada and to leave Canada, and then three, at least to live in Canada and sustain for at least 1 year, right? So those are the things that they actually want to see in the proof of funds. Now there are various ways by which you can show that you have these funds. It does not necessarily have to, in fact, it's not even cash. They are not looking for cash, right? There are just various ways, and one of them is, one, if you have a guaranteed investment certificate, maybe from a Canadian financial institution. Now GIC is one of the investment vehicles. If you have the certificate showing that I have this money that is required for my study and my living, this is the proof. Something that can be similar to like your treasury bill certificate, but this is not a treasury bill certificate. This is a guaranteed investment certificate. The word guaranteed investment certificate. If you have that, you are able to tender this as a proof that you have financial, or as a proof of financial sufficiency. Number two that you can also use is proof of a Canadian bank account in your name, in the name of the applicant, if you have transferred your money to Canada. So let's say you have the money in Canadian dollars or in Naira or whatever, and then you have moved this money in Canadian dollars to a Canadian financial institution. They would need proof from of the bank account, the Canadian bank account, showing that you have this money in the account and you have access to it, and the account is in your name, right? You have access to it. Number three that you can use is your bank statement. So the applicant's bank statement for the past 4 months. That is usually the record that they need. Your bank statement for 4 months, proving that you have the required amount in your account. This is a very popular option that a lot of people use, right? Because it's very easy, especially if you are coming from a foreign country. To tender the what's it called, your statement, your bank statement, 4 months bank statement, showing that you have this value. And it's also very important to make sure that the value that you have there is equivalent to what you need in Canadian dollars. You use the exchange rates, right? And it's also good to have like a little buffer on top of it, just because of fluctuations. Okay. Number four that you can use is if you have a bank draft that can be converted to Canadian dollars, then you can use that. If you have a bank draft that has that value that you need, so far as that bank draft can be converted to Canadian dollars, then you can use it. Another one that you can use is a letter from the person or institution, that is giving you money for the tuition or your living expense. A letter. Now, this one may not sufficiently stand on its own, especially if it's an individual that is maybe sponsoring you. For example, they are going to be paying for your tuition and they are also going to be paying for your living expense and everything. They may also need to provide their statement just to support that, yes, so I have this money and I'm so alongside, in that case, that means that instead of you providing your own bank statement as the applicant, the sponsor would be the one providing their statement. However, they would also need to support it with a letter of explanation stating that I'm sponsoring this person, I'll be paying for this, I'll be paying for that, And in addition to this, I have uploaded my banks, or I have included my bank statement just to support, this application. That's also another thing that you can use. However, if you're being sponsored by maybe an organization, a reputable organization, well, it might be sufficient for them to just provide like maybe a letter on their letterhead, of course, stating that they are going to be providing all the funds required, right? Because it may not be so easy for an organization to get a statement or something, but a reputable organization would only maybe have to provide like a letter on their letterhead stating that, and also signed by appropriate dignitaries, of course, with their contact information, so that they can contact them if there is any need to do some sort of verification or whatever. If the officer is trying to do their due diligence, then they can get across to them and get a confirmation of the document that you have submitted. All right. Now, the last one I have on my list here is proof of funding that is paid for from within Canada. And this one is useful in terms of if you have, like, say for example, you got a scholarship and you're studying in Canada, then there should be proof of funding being paid for by whatever body it is that has provided you with that scholarship. Since the funds is going to be coming from there, they would also need to provide a proof or submit a proof. So those are ways by which you can showcase that you have sufficient funds when you're coming to Canada as an international student. Now here we're going to talk about how much you need, yes, to submit, or the proof of funds that you need to submit as an international student. Just recently, the value has increased. In December 2023, the value that you needed as a proof of funds as one person was just $10,000. Yes, $10,000 for one person. However, in 2024, that value has increased by 100%. You need $20,635 to show as proof of funds coming into Canada as one person, as the applicant by yourself. You need to show that you have $20,635. If you are coming in with your spouse, so for two people, you need to show $25,690. Family of three, $31,583. Family of four, $38,346. Family of five, you need $43,492. Yes. And if you're a family of six, you need to show proof of funds for $49,051. If you're a family of seven, so you are like husband and wife and you have 5 children, you need to show that you have $54,611 as proof of funds. For each family member, after that 7 family member mark, you need to add $5,559 for each family member, right? So if you are a family of 7, you need to show $54,611. But if you are, that's for 7 people. But if you are 8, then $5,559 for each person. You are adding after the 7 family member mark. So that's how much you need to show as proof of funds when you are coming to Canada as an international student in 2024. In order for you to know what the value is in your home currency, all you need to do is multiply that value by the exchange rate that is applicable, and then you would know how much you need to show in your, how much you need to have to show for proof of funds, whether in your bank statement or in any of all those ways that I mentioned earlier on. Exchange rate fluctuates, right? So again, it just depends on when you submit your application. The officer will likely look at it based off of the day they are working on it and multiply how much you need by the exchange rate for that day. So it's always good to add like a little bit more on top of what is required just to account for that fluctuation in the exchange rate. So yes, pretty much with this we have come to the end of the video for today. Please do not forget to do what? Like, share and subscribe. You should always be saying this after me by now. Anyway, we'll see you again in our next video. Thank you very much for watching today. Have a good day. Bye bye.